Hi everyone, I hope you guys are doing well. My name is Grace and thank you so much for tuning in if it's your first time tuning in. And if you've been here before, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. So y'all, listen, it's been a while. I know it's been a while, and the thing is, I feel like I say this all the time every time I pop back into my channel, but like, listen, life has been lifing and it's been a bit real. So during the time that I took off YouTube and just kind of went onto my very long 1-year hiatus, I decided to think about what I would like my YouTube channel to embody. And thing is, I had so many different ideas that I wanted to do, but I never really had them. They weren't really constructed, or I didn't have a proper structure for them. So I finally decided to turn my channel into something that embodies me, which is music. I'm a musician. I love to sing, and I'm also an activist, and I'm really into advocacy. I'm currently doing my honors in sociology, and I've decided to take my channel into the direction of kind of advocacy. And for that reason, I'm going to be talking a lot about activism, social commentary, social issues, events that happen that affect society. And what I've decided to do is to base a lot of these events, social commentary, social issues, and I'm going to ground them into theory so we can be able to understand our experiences and just also kind of just heal, because I believe that activism and advocacy is a really good way to heal yourself and your experiences, and just kind of to find a way to navigate through them and understand them really well. So before I get into my video, I really want to first say that this video is based on my opinion, and also I'm going to be basing a lot of my videos on references and just kind of readings and context, and also a lot of my epistemological knowledge, which is basically knowledge that I have gained from being a Black woman, from being a person that is in a marginalized group. Also, like I said, I'm doing my honors in sociology, so a lot of my opinions and what I say on here is literally based on the knowledge that I've acquired over my 4 years of my degree. So activism. What is activism? I think a lot of the times we hear the word activism being spewed around. We hear a lot about advocacy, but I don't think we truly contextualize it and theorize it in a way that's actually beneficial in society. So I decided to research activism and kind of Google it, and also just give you guys more information. So the Google definition of activism, according to Google, but it's basically, activism is a practice of taking direct action to achieve political or social goals. It involves supporting a particular cause or a range of causes, or opposing it. Direct forms of activism include protesting, it includes petitions, lobbying, lawsuits, policy, and all of that stuff. Now, in as much as I agree with this definition, I decided to draft my own definition of what I think activism is. And I think when I was to narrow it down, because I thought about a lot of things, I thought about how I've been in youth, I've kind of decided to get into youth activism since I was in first year of my undergrad, also just in high school. But I always realized that, realizing now, actually, I'm realizing that I actually have always been an activist. I've always been into social advocacy. I just never really named it that. I never really knew the name for it. I just always I was always one that always would fight for justice and just bring up issues that affect people, but I never really knew what it was called. Yeah, but my definition of activism is, yes, it's about achieving political goals. Yes, these goals include your own social goals, and it includes supporting a particular cause. But I believe that these social or political goals include bettering the lives of yourself and others without the expense of anyone. It's about supporting a goal, but a goal that doesn't harm others, and it challenges power dynamics and better society in general. Now, activism, I think, it's important to understand that it isn't only about action. Before you get into activism, I think sometimes you need to get into the correct framework, or the correct mind frame of what activism actually is. And I think if we don't get into the right framework of activism, I feel like activism kind of comes off as performative. Now, activism is a specific way of thinking, and it includes social inclusion, it includes empathy, understanding, and accountability. It's understanding that humans are multifaceted, and a lot of the times and a lot of the issues that we'll dive into onto this channel, you'll realize that they're very complex, very nuances, and not black and white. However, it is important to understand, even in the complexity, that I will be using a lot of accountability, because I believe in holding ourselves and each other accountable for the betterment of society. Activism is about the uplifting of marginalized groups, supporting a cause that is not only based on your experience. Now, what I mean by that is a lot of the times we'll support causes that affect us or reflect our experiences, but what I find is when we do that, we lack empathy for issues that are not about us. And what is interesting is because a lot of these issues, like let's say social movements, right, the Black Lives Matter movement and the feminist movement, in hindsight, if you really think about it, they're both about human rights, but for some insane reason, people think that feminism and black rights are mutually exclusive. I mean, I think they're mutually exclusive in terms of the people and the parties that are involved, but if you really narrow it down, it's literally about human rights, equality, and just bettering society for people in general. Because I believe that if one person is not free, then we're all not free, you know? So you have to really be mindful and think above yourself, and just kind of also just step away from yourself and realize that not everything is necessarily about you. And if you want people to support your cause as well, you also need to be able to form alliances with other people in other causes. I feel like once you establish the framework of activism and the mindset of an activist, you realize that activism isn't just necessarily about direct action like the Google definition said. Sometimes activism is literally about the little things. Like I said earlier, I didn't know that I was an activist until I found the word activism, but I found myself having little conversations and little dialogues between my friends, my family, and my community about things that affected us as a society. And I find that activism is just that. It's the little things. It's conversations, it's sparking dialogue, it's having empathy, it is being kind, it's starting a support group. And I think that when you see that those little things are activism, you see that these little things transcend into action, and the direct action that the Google translation was talking about, the direct action actually becomes protesting, it becomes lobbying, and eventually becomes policy change, which actually betters people's lives in general. So yeah guys, that's basically the end of my video about activism. I hope that this video keeps you guys well informed about activism, and also just provided you guys a basic definition of what activism is. So going forward with all my YouTube videos and just different issues that I'll be talking about, you will keep this in mind. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you would like for me to talk about different things, please comment down below, and I'll definitely try and accommodate you guys with whatever topics that you would like to talk about. Ciao.